Dog, who you wanna? Diamonds on my wrist and on my.
Yo, what is going on? And welcome into the huddle. Glad to be joined here with my beautiful, lovely co-hosts. As you guys can see, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you guys go like the video and subscribe. Now let's get into our divisional round review. Let's start off with our most impactful performance.
All right, real quick. Before we start, I just want to say, this weekend, I said the Bills win. I was right. I said the Packers game is Davante Adams versus Jalen Ramsey. Whoever wins that matchup wins the game. Davante Adams won that matchup. They won the game. Chiefs won.
But Davante Adams isn't the reason why they won that game.
I don't care. You won the matchup.
But wait.
Listen, guys,
we're talking about the Packers, and I will tell you what you did wrong.
I did nothing wrong. I said Davante Adams wins the matchup.
Ari, continue, Ari, continue.
Thank you. I said Chiefs win, Browns keep it close. That happened. I also said the Bucs win, and that happened. So I was four. There we go. I was 4 for 4 this weekend. Plus called the Browns keeping it close, and called Davante Adams winning the matchup. Yeah, just had to point that out there.
Ari, I really respect. That's a respectful performance from you this week. I'm proud of you. That's all I have to say. But I too, before we get started, I have something I want to say, and I really don't have to say anything for it. But I mean, just know if you are watching this on YouTube, your eyes will be blessed in the next few seconds. No. We are showing you Jameis Winston's touchdown pass.
Oh no.
Jameis, baby.
He hit the receiver. There's no one within 15 yards of him.
Oh my goodness.
I could have made that throw if my arm was a little bit stronger, but I'm 17, so it's not.
And that's all I wanted to.
I'm glad that an NFL caliber quarterback can make that throw. I'm very happy.
Okay, that's all I wanted to start off with. So now,
still sucks.
Conor, now you can continue.
Who wants to get into their most impactful performance first?
I'll go. I said just overall, just the Buccaneers defense, more specifically Devin White. I mean, they had 4 total turnovers, 3 picks, 1 fumble, and 238 total yards allowed versus the explosive Saints offense, which is very impressive. The receivers were blanketed almost the whole game. I mean, except that one play. But Michael Thomas had 0 catches for 0 yards, which was definitely – Lamboy was not running slants today. It was definitely a big part of the game. And Devin White specifically had 10.5 tackles with a pick and a fumble recovery. And, I mean, just overall, they dominated the turnover battle, and, I mean, that's how you win games. So I just thought the whole defense overall was most impactful this weekend.
I can definitely respect that. I mean, they had a great week. We're going to go into later what if we think it's the Saints offense that really made the Bucs defense look so good, or if it was the Bucs defense that really made them look so good. We'll go into that in a little bit in a later part of the episode. But for me, my most impactful performance was the guy who proved me wrong. And the one take I got wrong last week was the Packers, Aaron Rodgers. He's great, man. He played the best defense in the league, threw for 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Shout out to Ari for getting my man's wrong. Allen Lazard is elite. My man had 4 catches for 100 yards.
He did have one bad drop.
He did have one bad drop, but had 100 receiving yards, led the team in receiving yards, had a touchdown. He was their leading receiver that week. That's my most impactful performance, just seeing how well they did against the best defense that was one left in the playoffs, or maybe even the best defense in the league.
Definitely.
Yeah. Ari, I have a Devin White section on my notes here. I love Devin White. I think he was my consideration for most impactful performance, but I decided not to because of the shirt I'm wearing right now. Chiefs shirt. Patrick Mahomes is injured.
You say Chad Henne.
Who's going to step in? Who's going to step in for Mahomes?
Oh, my God.
It's the Chiefs defense. You thought I was going to say Chad Henne. You thought I was going to say Chad Henne. It's the Chiefs defense.
Oh,
That
God.
defense held up a Browns offense that is pretty good. Ari will testify to that. Ari loves that Browns team. Ari loves Baker Mayfield too. They shut down that team. They held them to 17 points in a game where I think the whole world was worried for the Chiefs. I don't even think Chiefs fans thought they were going to win that game. I mean, huge play to end the half too, where Rashard Higgins fumbles through the end zone, even though that may have been illegal, and it may be Browns fans' version of the Dez caught it thing. But it's still a huge play by the defense. Tyrann Mathieu has a huge pick to open the half against Baker. Kind of like stunt his momentum a little bit, stunt their hope, even though Harrison Butker decided to. I mean, all kickers kind of sucked this week, but that's besides the point. And then on that last the last couple of drives in the fourth quarter for the Browns, the Chiefs defense either forced them to take a lot of time off the clock, which made it easier for the Chiefs offense to waste more time. And then Chris Jones makes a huge play getting to Baker Mayfield on 3rd and 11 of their final drive of the game, where Baker has to throw a check down instead of looking down the field, and then they have to punt. And then ultimately Chad Henne does what he does, and Andy Reid does what he does. And that game is not won without the Chiefs defense playing as well as they did.
I thought that 4th and 1 call was so ballsy.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to first of all line up in shotgun, throw the ball with your backup quarterback, who I think said has never taken a pass attempt before that game in the playoffs. I mean, that's Andy Reid, man. That was crazy.
Yeah, and glad to be wearing this shirt for a playoff team, even though I am a football team fan. I just want to reiterate that. But I have this shirt.
Remember when you bought that shirt?
It's on my birthday, man. It's my own birthday present.
Little gift for himself.
Yep.
All right, now let's get into my favorite topic this week.
Oh, yeah.
Raven slander. All right. So let's get into the Ravens. If you are one of my friends that likes the Ravens, please skip this part. I'm about to slander your running back. Love you, Venom. Shout out for watching all of our vids. But y'all got a problem here. I can't see Lamar taking you guys to a Super Bowl. I say while his trade value is somewhat high, try to get rid of him. I don't see a future in Lamar Jackson. Teams will figure out how to stop him soon, like they already have been. Just literally a quarterback spy. Like it's really that simple. Like this dude can't throw the football for his life. He threw for 150 yards this week and threw a pick. But I do got to give him credit. He threw a 101-yard touchdown. Maybe next time it can be to someone on his team. But yeah, I can't see a future with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I mean, great runner, one of the greatest running quarterbacks of all time. I'm not going to take that away from him. But those quarterbacks tend to not be so successful. I mean, look at the best of all time, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning. Like, they can't really move, but they can throw the ball extremely well. And that's something Lamar Jackson cannot do. Especially with the weapons he has now, they're not very good. I mean, Mark Andrews is one of the best tight ends in the game, but, I mean, you got Willie Snead, Hollywood Brown. I mean, they're not very good. For him to be successful, I think he would need, like, Chiefs, Browns, Bucs, those type of weapons. And I don't really know if that would even do it for him, but at least he would need that. Also, he has just over 7,000 career passing yards in 3 career seasons, which is just over about 2,000 yards a season. Not very impressive. He's 1-3 in the playoffs, and that one win, I thought he got pretty lucky with Mike Vrabel deciding to punt, which I think if they go for it, they get the first down, go on and win the game. And I don't think he will lead his team to a Super Bowl championship, let alone get to the Super Bowl at all, unless he improves his passing abilities by a lot.
Guys, I'd appreciate it if you don't interrupt me here. Okay, I know you may want to, but the problem with the problem with the Ravens, nothing to do with Lamar Jackson. The Ravens do not have a Lamar Jackson problem. Lamar Jackson's not the problem in Baltimore. The problem is Harbaugh and the whole coaching staff. And I mean, Roman needs to change his offense very quickly because he's not allowing Lamar to even throw the ball. Not that Lamar is bad. It's that they're calling such a skewed amount of run plays over pass plays, even when they're losing in games. Everyone has known this, and then Harbaugh has shown that he does not make any adjustments. That game plan they came out with against the Bills was literally the same thing they did against the Titans. Okay? Harbaugh is a bad coach. I've been saying this forever. I'm not particularly a fan of the Ravens, but it's just disappointing to if he does not have a Super Bowl, he does not have a job right now. So he's not a good coach. Plus, like you mentioned, Ari, Lamar Jackson's not the problem. He needs weapons. Hollywood Brown cannot be his number one receiver. Hollywood Brown is not a number one receiver in this league, and he shouldn't be. And then Mark Andrews is good, but he only appears to be good because of how lackluster the tight end position is. So I wouldn't even say he's insane. He's just all right. He's a decent tight end given that the position is so bad. So they need to help him. He cannot, they're expecting him to run around, save the franchise. Now, Harbaugh, they need to clear out the coaching staff. And if that involves getting rid of Lamar Jackson, maybe it does. But the problem is not Lamar Jackson.
I have to disagree with you there. Because first of all, John Harbaugh won a Super Bowl, right? I don't think, obviously there's some exceptions. Did he win two? At least one Super Bowl. A coach that can win a Super Bowl is not a bad coach. With obviously there's some exceptions, but if you can lead your team to a championship, you are not a bad coach. And also, I don't know if you watched the combine with Lamar Jackson. He couldn't even do a 5-step drop. He looked uncomfortable. So he obviously has issues throwing the football. Because when you're doing a 5-step drop, you're not hitting the ball off. You're dropping back and looking to throw. So he wasn't used to doing that. Therefore, he's not good at it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, but the whole point of this league is for players like that to improve, okay? Look at I'm just saying, look at what Josh Allen just did over this past year. Josh Allen was a huge, primarily running quarterback his first couple years in the league. He was not looked at as a insane passer like he is now, but the Ravens offense does not allow him to improve. The way you get better is by throwing in game. He
has, and he's thrown picks. And when he tries to throw beyond a check down, it's 5 yards away from his receiver. Lamar Jackson is a problem, not Harbaugh, bro. This man is nice. This man is a good coach. He led them to 2 Super Bowls, one 2001, and another one 2013. Dude, this guy is the reason why they won in 2013. If you think back,
I think it's actually Jacoby Jones. I think he would have something to say about that. But Joe
Flacco, the guy that is made fun of for being an elite quarterback. You guys remember that? The Joe Flacco slander. Yeah, he took Joe Flacco to a Super Bowl win.
Okay, but that doesn't coaches have to be able to adjust, and he has not shown that he can adjust to Lamar Jackson's play style well, and he has not shown that he can develop Lamar Jackson. Lamar's crazy MVP year last year, he had a good passing performance. He had Mahomes. I told Ari this. He had Mahomes, the numbers that Mahomes had this year with less yards, but the same touchdowns, same interceptions. And then this year they just kept running them. It's a problem with the coaching first, and then if Lamar Jackson can't improve, then that's on him. But he hasn't been given the opportunity.
This is basically what I'm thinking. Right now, he's the problem, especially with the weapons that he has. but I'm curious to see how he would play if they get like Juju Smith-Schuster or Allen Robinson or someone like that, someone to actually help him out. I'm curious to see how he would play in that situation.
Or how about they get a Sean McVay who makes the game simple for Jared Goff? Why don't they make the throwing game simple for Lamar Jackson instead of trying to throw it up to Hollywood Brown, who's 5'11"? Like,
I agree with you. I would like to see a change, but at this very moment, Lamar Jackson is a problem.
that loss, I will say, is on his interception. That's purely that loss in the game. But
They had the combine. You're in a 101-yard touchdown.
yeah, but going forward, the Ravens need to stick with him and get rid of their coaches. They need to get a new offensive coordinator, or they need to change their philosophy entirely. But the bottom line is Lamar needs to develop as a passer, and these coaches that he's with right now have not helped him do so.
I agree with that.
All right.
I don't want to stick on this too long. Let's move over to who I talked about in my most impactful performance, the Packers. Let's talk about how powerful they are. Like, they are, in my opinion, the most well-rounded team left in the playoffs. I don't think there's, and this is coming from Patrick Mahomes' rider. Pause. I think they're the most well-rounded team in the playoffs. I think Aaron Rodgers is playing the best he's played since early on in his career. I think maybe even the best that he's ever played. And Devontae Adams, which you guys will hear about later in my top 5 offensive players. You can see how highly ranked I have him. Their offense is just so deadly. Ari was talking about how they don't have a lot of pieces on offense. I disagree. I think Alan Lazard was listening to our podcast last week and wanted to show Ari that he is elite. And there's other guys on that team that really step up, and their defense also surprised me. I think their defense is in my opinion, the second best defense left in the playoffs. So, yeah.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I'm taking the Bucs. They're very good, especially late in the season and the playoffs. I mean, they have an embarrassment of weapons on offense. I could go on, and I'm going to. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, O.J. Howard, Tyler Johnson. I don't even know, Scotty Miller. Like, they have so many weapons. Also, Leonard Fournette, who was a top 5 draft pick, who was released for some reason and picked up and is playing great now. Ronald Jones, when he's healthy, he had a 90-something yard touchdown earlier in the season. When he's healthy, he plays great. Their defense, they have guys all over the place. That front 4 is very good. The Dominican Sue especially anchoring it. He's 37, 38 years old, anchoring that D-line and getting to the quarterback. Drew Brees was uncomfortable all game. And when they're ahead, they play so well. And obviously, the greatest of all time, Tom Brady, at the quarterback position. I honestly don't see any holes.
Just took Mahomes a few years.
I'm not talking about a fusion. I'm talking about right now. Also, that O-line is playing amazing. Tom Brady does not get touched. I don't see any holes in that offense and minute holes in the defense. I think they're by far the most well-rounded team.
Look, I don't necessarily disagree with that statement. I think we can all agree that the Bills are not. But getting back to the Packers here, the way their defense has improved over the season is insane. I don't think anyone looked at them as remotely even a top half defense in the league before the season started. And then, I mean, their cornerbacks are insane. Jair Alexander, Darnell Savage, he's doing well. Their run defense is the only thing that scares me. But speaking of well-roundedness, their offense is scary. if they use the run game like they did against the Rams, where they have 3 running backs just pounding, Jamal Williams, AJ Dillon I love AJ Dillon, by the way. I think AJ Dillon will be their starting running back next year. But and then Aaron Jones, he's awesome too. He's tough. Like their offense alone, I think, makes them the most well-rounded, and I don't know if I can. I think the only team that they compare to really is the Chiefs, only given that the Chiefs defense does what they actually can do, which we saw against the Browns. Like if they play like Mahomes is hurt every game, then I think they're the more well-rounded team. But right now the Packers look unstoppable.
I do respect that, and I think the Bucs and the Packers are very comparable. I mean, quarterbacks, two of the greatest of all time, great running backs, very good defense. I mean, their O-line. I mean, the Packers O-line is a little banged up, but they're still playing well. I just think the difference maker. I mean, a very good tight end. Obviously, Gronk has played a lot better in previous years. He's declined a tiny bit, but he's still. I would take him over Robert Tonyan at the moment. But I just think the difference maker is, okay, Devontae Adams, I would say obviously better than Mike Evans, but they're both a star. But I'm taking Chris Godwin over Alan Lazard. I'm taking Antonio Brown over MBS. I mean, those the guys like Scotty Miller, Tyler Johnson, they're not very good overall players, but Tom Brady makes them very good players. So I just think the difference maker, I think what puts the Bucs a tiny bit over the Packers is just the receivers that they have.
And this is the guy that was talking down on the Bucs last week, actually, if you guys remember that.
Look, I don't know. They didn't play very well versus the football team, but last week I thought they played very well.
Look, we'll get in actually quickly in a little bit here, but we'll get into the Bucs more and why I think that change happened. But going back to the Packers, yeah, you said Devontae Adams is. You mentioned the weapons they have, but Devontae Adams is unsolvable. Who's stopping that man? Aaron Rodgers can hand the ball off 10 times in a row. They'll get 3 first downs, and then he'll go play action and have an Alan Lazard wide open, or he'll have Devontae Adams running across the field. He'll have a screen pass. They'll throw 3 screen passes to Devontae Adams per game, and he's just getting the ball, and he's a playmaker. He's like Alvin Kamara as a wide receiver.
I mean, Devontae Adams in double coverage is Devontae Adams wide open.
All right, relax. He's not Calvin Johnson. Come on.
Yeah, no. You see the comparisons to him though. You see people saying people asking who's better, him or Calvin Johnson, and I'm like,
no one's touching prime Calvin Johnson.
Oh, I remember being so young and watching him.
Yeah.
Rolling pause. All right. But do we want to move on to the Bucs defense?
Yeah.
All right. So like I was saying earlier, what we were going to touch on was if we think the Bucs defense is really that good or the Saints offense just did not show up. And like Ari said earlier, the Bucs defense is like that. That is a great defense. But I also do have to say the Saints offense did not show up. They had their worst offensive week all season. Alvin Kamara did not play as necessarily well. Drew Brees, who I had ranked 5th and advocated very much for, ended up throwing for 140 yards, a touchdown, and 3 picks.
I have a quick question. Who played better this week, Baker or Brees?
All right, Baker played better, but I'm still giving.
I think this might be a good time to bring this up. You guys want to know the top 3 passer ratings this weekend?
Jameis Winston.
No. Oh, okay. Starting quarterbacks.
This is number 1.
I love Jameis Winston.
I told you.
Rodgers is 1, Mahomes 2, Jared Goff 3. Goff, the guy that nobody even considered. But granted, he is a game manager. Yeah. He
Yeah,
just game managed better than Baker and Breeze did.
Yeah,
Way
that's
better than
right
Breeze.
down, boy.
You said Tom Brady number 2, right?
No, Mahomes too. Mahomes through a half was
Top
2.
3.
Nope. But he was better than Allen. Better than Josh Allen.
Back to what I was saying. In 18 carries, Alvin Kamara only had 85 yards. They were trying to dump the ball off to him a ton, and he didn't show up. He was on an average carries of 4 yards, average 4.5 yards per carry. He did not play as well as what he normally does. Drew Brees didn't show up, sadly, in his last game. And that is the reason why they lost that game, other than the Bucs defense actually being like that. If they did that against a mediocre defense, maybe they still pull away. They did it against a great defense.
Yeah. Ari, you gonna go? I'll let you go.
All right. I actually agree with you, Connor. Feels kind of weird, but let's say, yeah. I mean, when the Bucs defense gets going, they're very good. I mean, very good. I mean, solid pass rush, as I said before, made Breeze very uncomfortable almost the whole game, as I mentioned before. I mean, excuse me. In addition to that, Breeze wasn't making good decisions. He was throwing into covered receivers. He was dumping it off. It didn't feel like Drew Brees. And especially, how many times did you hear Alvin Kamara's name that game? I mean, he didn't do much of anything. And I'm worried about Aaron Rodgers next week. He had a great season, but the Bucs defense is getting better and better and better and better. So yeah, I agree with you. I think it was defense is great and the Saints played bad.
Well, there's one reason and one reason only for such a great turnaround in Ari's opinions on the Bucs, and that is a man that he himself mentioned earlier, Devin White, the sole reason for the Bucs defense being as good as it was. I mean, Ari already gave you his stats. I had them here too, but he just made he was everywhere. Like, he makes such a difference for their defense, and but also, I mean, with the Saints, you got to look at, like, Jared Cook had a bad fumble that kind of just started an avalanche against them, and then Brady is obviously going to take advantage. So I think the Bucs defense is very good. We already know they're top they're a top running defense, top defense against the run, and they are and I mean, if their offense stays hot and their defense looks this good, they're a very scary team. And I mean, they don't really give up many big plays. Like, I mean, this was the only big play they gave up.
Showing it again.
And it was, you know who was quarterback?
I don't care. The guy who stole crab legs in his pants, it was him.
I mean, that was the only big play they gave up. So it really, I think it really is a statement that they just made. But Devin White's gonna be all over the field. We're not gonna let you go deep on us, and our offense is good. So we're a scary team. Be scared, and we have Tom Brady.
Absolutely. All right, now let me get into my top 5 offensive players in the league this season. We're not including quarterbacks on this list, but I'm just gonna get into my top 5 real quick. At 5, I have someone who probably, like, this list, it is so hard because there's so many people that deserve to be on this list. And, like, really there's an argument for everyone at any point of this list. But at 5, I have the best tight end in the league, Travis Kelce. I mean, I don't really have to explain anything there. Like, he is, in my opinion, the second best option to go to on that team. And that is why I got to put the number 1 option, Tyreek Hill, at 4. That team has so many options. Those 2 guys are insane. Tyreek Hill is nicknamed the Cheetah for a reason. He just gets by every single back that's on him. Now I'm going to go into 3. Alvin Kamara. This is someone who I talked down on just a couple minutes ago, but this guy has played like a force all season. And for that reason, I got to give him that 3 spot. At 2, I have Derrick Henry. Guy's been a tank all season. He's ran over nearly every linebacker, anyone that's come after him. He's just ran over him. Dude's a force. I would not want to try to tackle him. And then at 1, I have the guy that I've been praising all season, had him on my fantasy team, Davante Adams. That's my guy. Aaron Rodgers is the best offensive player in the league, and he gets to just toss it up to him. That's why he's had a great season. Like I said earlier, double coverage, nothing.
So I agree with most of that list, but I would switch 2 and 1, and I'll tell you why. A 2,000-yard rusher does not happen very often. Especially with Ryan Tannehill improving and actually becoming a good passer. Last year, we make fun of him, like hands off the ball, can't pass, whatever. He could throw the ball this year. And they had A.J. Brown, like Corey Davis. They had weapons. And he still had 2,000 yards rushing. That's insane. For that, I have to put him at 1. I got Davante at 2. I like Alvin at 3. I'm moving Travis Kelce up, though. I like Travis Kelce this year because I think it's more impressive that they had so many weapons on the team as well, that he was still able to produce with the ball getting thrown around. And I think you're forgetting of a guy that actually went to high school down the road, up to college in this state, Mr. Diggs, who had a most receptions and most yards. Great season. I like Tyreek Hill, but I think it's more impressive what Stephon Diggs did with a lesser quarterback than what Tyreek Hill did with a great quarterback.
Ooh, we're not going to talk down on Josh Allen like he's
I'm not
not.
talking. No. I'm saying he's worse than Patrick Mahomes. He's great.
Yeah, nobody's at Patrick Mahomes' level.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying what Stephon Diggs did is more impressive because he is a lesser quarterback. Not a bad one, just a lesser one.
I think Tyreek Hill's playoff prediction, or not playoff predictions, his playoff performance is the playoff performance and games he's had this season is why I have to put him above Stephon Diggs on my list. But Stephon Diggs was right there for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I know Hayden probably has the Maryland guy.
Listen, I definitely agree with Ari here on the 5 that he has in it. I think Stephon Diggs should replace Tyreek Hill on yours. But I think the way I chose to look at this was, have we seen these guys be taken away at all? And with Derrick Henry, we just saw him. I think with Alvin Kamara, we have. And so that really kind of leaves it down to 3 guys. It leaves it down to Diggs, Adams, and Kelce. And I have Kelce at 1. That man is the most unstoppable player in this league that is not a quarterback.
Okay, I respect that.
He's the most reliable option in this league, reliable pass catcher, and Connor's giving me the bug eyes here, but
made me look like
an all-time record for tight end receiving yards, and that's just number 5 on your list. Like he's the best player in football right now, other than a quarterback. And then Diggs, I feel like, deserves respect because, like Ari mentioned, most receptions and most yards, and he kind of just proved his point of why he deserved more targets in Minnesota.
One thing I'm curious about, though, is obviously I'm not taking anything away from Travis Kelce, but we really didn't see George Kittle this year. So I want to see if they both play. I don't remember if he played all year last year, but if they both play 16 games or 15, something around there, I want to see who's better because George Kittle is very good as well. And if he's got Jimmy Garoppolo, if you give him someone like Patrick Mahomes, what could he do?
Yeah. I mean, I see a point for Stephon Diggs. I definitely think I should have had Stephon Diggs on my list. but not in replace of Tyreek Hill. I mean, in replace of Tyreek Hill, not Travis Kelce. I'm not going to do Travis Kelce wrong and not have him on the list. But I can't see him at 1. I absolutely cannot. Like, if you ask me who is the most unstoppable player in the NFL, I will tell you Devontae Adams every single time.
He was definitely the best receiver in the league this year. I just think Derrick Henry had a more impressive season because 2,000 yards do not come by often.
That's true. All right. Thank you guys for clocking in, and we'll see you guys next time on The Huddle.